for instant analysis of today's NCAA Final Four games. Kasama natin ang NCAA analyst na sina Mikee, Reyes at Migs, Bustos. Guys, welcome back to The Score.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Salamat. Exciting games today para sa kagulo sa NCAA Final Four. Unahin na natin yun, yung unang game natin, yung Mapua and Letran. A lot of people thought this would be the better matchup amongst both games kasi mukhang mas match sila. Nakaisa yung Mapua sa Letran. They split their games in the regular season. Pero ano nakita nyo sa matchup today? What was the edge for Letran?
Well, it was really their defense. Talagang, even though Allwell got 27 rebounds, kumbaga yung gang rebounding talagang nanaig doon sa loob. They out-rebounded Mapua 20, that was 26 offensive rebounds.
Wow.
So talagang yung game plan siguro ni Coach Damay nag-work na wag lang, makaribon na tayong lahat, wag lang si Allwell.
Para sa'yo, Mike, yun ang nakita mo na
I like how Coach Aldin stuck with Mark Cruz. Kasi in the start, he was struggling. Pero he knows, Mark knows that they need him to produce. Coach Aldin knows that they need Mark. So he left Mark in the game. Go take your shots, take your usual number of shots. And slowly he delivered. Pero at the end of the game, breaks din eh. Because if Mapua made those two in-and-out three-pointers, it could have been a different story.
They were open, they had their shots in
at saka pasok na, lumabas pa eh.
Yun na nga, yung linawa talaga
Oo, minalas.
Correct. I mean, Mark, you were right. Struggled first. He ended up with 9 for 21. But he did have 24 points. Pero that's something that you need. And you're going to the playoffs, you're going to the finals, you need someone to step up and really be the hero, the leader. Ready na ba ang isang Mark Cruz to be that guy for Letran against the 5-time defending champs?
Well, for me, matagal na siyang ready. Ever since the start of the season, talagang he's proven time and again, he's that big shot ant-man. So, talagang asahan mo na every time you would want to go for a person who will take that last shot, first option mo talaga si Mark Cruz. But you cannot discredit also Reyes Batak and Kevin Racal. Pareha silang veterans. Pero for me, if I'll design a play for the last shot, it will be Mark Cruz.
Well, yun ang maganda kay Mark Cruz. I mean, like what he was saying, na si Mark talaga yung main focus ng offense nila, especially when he comes in. Kanina nag-start pala siya, pero when he comes in off the bench like he usually does. Pero ang maganda rin sa Letran, when he is struggling, medyo may leeway siya because like Kevin Racal is still there with 19 points and then Reyes Batak. So you know Mark is gonna be there but he has other players din na.
Tsaka today, I don't know, I don't watch Letran, I haven't seen all the games, but he played a little bit more off the ball as well. On the corners, in the wing. So does that add another dimension na before ball heavy talaga, point guard, man, off guard siya. How does that apply to having to scout him now for the finals?
Well, mas may hirapan siguro yung San Beto because of course, ang magdadala ng bola niyan, it's either, if not for Mark Cruz, sila Louis, or even Reyes Batak can start the offense. But if Mark Cruz can, talagang papahirapan
sa bilis lang niya eh, mahirapan ka sundan eh.
Mahirapan talaga. So it will be a challenge for multiple defenders to really guard him.
Well, kinapos na ka konti Mapua, but where did they fall short? Allwell had a huge rebound the game, 25 rebounds, but he only had 10 points. Where do you think they fell short, if anything, to at least get the first game?
Well, if you look at the stats, yung turnovers nila mataas,
29
turnovers. Pero for me, what I believe is running games sila. So you can't be afraid to throw the ball away because if you want to run, if you want to attack every time, that's what Coach Atoy believes in yung sistema niya. You can't be afraid to kasi in the end, dikit pa din naman eh. Ano lang, breaks of the game, medyo minalas na rin sila.
Well, speaking of breaks of the game, let's shift our attention to the San Beda and JRU game. Lamang pa yung JRU. Throughout the game, until middle third quarter, they had a 2-point lead, 3-point lead. Umabot sa 8, 48-40, mid-third quarter. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, did San Beda flip the switch? They have a certain gear. What did you see? What happened? How did they make it? It was a 16-5 run to end the third quarter, and they ended up with the lead.
Well, for me, malaking bagay din talaga yung bench ni Coach Jamaic. Because all season long, nakita nga natin through multiple games na even though sa mga ganyang klaseng nail-biter situations, to the second group, third group na yung nakapasok. So I think Coach Jamaic had the confidence in this game para, sige, kahit medyo may menos ako ng konti, try kong subukan itong mga to if they're really battle tested.
And that's what he said. He said in the post-game, sabi niya, I was criticized all season long for always running a 15-man lineup. Bakit ba ako ganyan? But sabi niya, that's what that was meant for games like this, when they need to step up. If some starters aren't hot, they're there. What did you see about how his confidence was in the bench? I mean, it's one thing to be confident in your depth, but it's another thing to be confident in a big game.
At saka crunch time sila yung nasa loob.
Crunch time eh.
Well, of course, yun na nga, like you said, they prepared for this game. Yun yung matagal na niyang pinaglalaban na sistema. Of course, since high school, gano'n na talaga siya. I've seen him coach.
Correct.
Since high school, talagang 15 players, they're
Parang ayaw
confident.
niya bitawan yung Milo SBP, no?
Oo, hindi niya talaga binibitawan.
Natakalaro.
Well, ang maganda naman doon, yun nga, they got the win today. But looking forward, he will need his starters.
Yes,
he will need
of course.
100% confidence yung starters niya.
And that's my next question. If you're San Beda, should you be concerned with how Art De La Cruz played? He had a very, very subpar game, only 3 points actually in 2 of 7 shooting. Ola Diogon only had, sorry, that was the first half. They both finished with 5 points each actually. Very, very low kasi I think sila Anton and Coach Olsen at the pregame said that Art was averaging 27 points in the 2 encounters he had against GRU, and then he was down to 5 points. I mean, he had a different look. He had Putucci guarding him, but still, kung ikaw ang San Beda, you need him coming into a groove going up against Letran. Anong concern mo dun?
Well, I think it's just one of those games.
Okay.
You will have an off night on offense. Pero even though ganito ang nangyari kay Art, it doesn't mean that magta-translate yun into the finals. So, hindi natin masabi kung anong nangyari doon. Baka off game lang. But for sure in the finals, double-double average ulit yan.
Okay.
Ako para sa akin, they don't need him like a lot. If they need him now, they needed him before nung elimination. They need him more now. And I think mas lamang sila underneath against Letran because Letran doesn't have a legit big. They don't have an import.
Right.
Unlike GRU, they have imports, malalaki. So medyo yung advantage nila underneath mas ma-maximize nila against Letran.
Looking at the finals now, San Beda, Letran, the rivalry, the history between these two teams. But just looking at this season, sinabi na ni America nina iba yung Letran this year. Sabi niya, ibang-iba yung Letran this year. Grabe yung dumipensa, grabe yung bilis. Who's got the psychological edge? I mean, aside from basketball, who's got the psychological edge coming into the series?
Wow, that's kind of challenging. Pero basing from the first 2 games, it will always be San Beda because of the height.
Okay.
Because of their size. Ola and Tangkua, he was the best player during the second round. Talagang walang nagawa yung Letran during the second round, even though Letran was really pushing, really running, pero yung offensive rebounds, the putbacks, those points in the paint, that will be a key factor. And I think Coach Jamaic will really exploit Ola, Art, and Tangkua, and also Sorella and Mocon down.
Ako both ways Because if I was Letran and I was entering itong finals na to, alam ko na 10 straight finals na yung kalabang ko, 5 straight championships. But at the same time, if you're on San Beda side, Letran has been the #1 team almost throughout the whole season.
Right. Hinahabol lang nila. They're always
like alam nilang Letran yung in control buong season and they're the biggest threat against them this year. So it goes both ways.
But arguably, San Beda was never healthy 100%.
Yeah,
until the last game.
That's true.
Okay, ito, one thing. Coach Aldin Ayo said in the postgame, one thing that motivated them is the respect that he said that he never got throughout the season. Sabi pa niya, I won't name names, but there was a time na may lumapit sa kanya sa CR and sabi, Coach, buti kayo makakatapat namin. Parang iba yung angas ng mga kalaban nila against him that they didn't see him as a good coach, they didn't think that they were a legit team, and that's their motivation now to prove everybody wrong. Pag may ganong motivation ng isang team, how far can they go?
Well, siguro, yun nga that criticism has been evident during the preseason pa lang. And then they were proving everybody wrong. Siguro it's that mentality na nothing to lose naman tayo Diba? From the start, everybody doubted us. So there's no only way to go but up. So siguro yun yung talaga na binibigay na psychological yung talagang pag-motivate sa players at the same time defensive system. Yun yung magdadala doon.
Mikey, Mark Cruz had a 24-point huge game. How big is it that he had a big game in the Final Four right before the finals?
Well, it's big kasi nga I was actually talking to Mark before this season when I noticed na he was coming off the bench bigla because for all the last 4 years siya yung starting point guard ng Letran. And then at first he didn't buy it kasi he's used to it. And then after a while nakita ko na okay, alam na niya yung role niya which was to bring offense dun sa second group. Kasi nga naman Ray ng Batak and Kevin Recalor in the first group. And then Mark comes in, tapos yan na, bubulusok na siya.
Siya yung spark.
Siya yung spark. And ang maganda doon, nasa kanya pa rin naman yung minutes. Hindi lang siya mag-start, but the minutes is there. So, I think it's very important na mataas yung confidence niya ngayon. Medyo lamang yung confidence ng starters ng Letran compared to San Beda, especially after the game today. So, yun yung malaking adjustment and they have 3 days na lang to get ready for game 1. So.
Well, I have the same job as you guys, so I hate being asked fearless forecast. But I'll ask you this. How far will this go? 2 games, 3 games? I won't ask you who's going to win, but how deep will this go?
Ako, feel ko 3 games.
3 games?
3 games.
Ako 3 games.
Three
Ako,
games.
my mind says San Beda, but I want Letran to win just for this, for the league.
All right.
As
We'll see.
as a new analyst for the league, I want
Just
I want
add some
Letran to-
spice to it.
For the
Yeah.
league, yeah. For
All
the
right,
league.
we'll see. Well, it should be a heck of a series that we'll all enjoy. So thanks, guys. We'll see you again soon. Maraming
Thank you,
salamat.
thank you, thank
All the
you.
best. Friday na, game
Yeah.
1.